Major Kira takes a trip to the Jankata Nebula. Trevian has some herbs that are to die for. And the Defiant crew visits a planet of mysterious humans. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
Very special guest here, Dr. Mohamed Noor.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and by the way, that was a runabout, not the Defiant. I realized that as I was reading it. It was the runabout, a runabout. I don't know which one. We are doing a review of Deep Space Nine's Season 4, The Quickening, directed by Rene Auberjonois and written by Naren Shanker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is, but written by.
I think he was a science advisor. He was a science advisor at the end of TNG, I think. Like before Andre Bormanis came on, I think he was a science advisor and then transitioned to being a writer, if I remember correctly.
Good knowledge. Okay. By the way, everybody at home, Dr. Mohamed Noor is a science advisor for Star Trek, so he knows a little something about science advisors and their lineage. Did they make you take a class beforehand, like of all of the to like learn them all?
No, and my role is a little different in the sense that I'm not on retainer like Dr. Erin McDonald is right now. I just occasionally do it on contract. So I like to say she's the sheriff of science, and I'm just somebody who gets deputized sometimes.
Nice. I'm just looking up Naren real quick just to see. Okay, so he did write an episode of Voyager called Heroes and Demons. He wrote or was story editor in several Next Generation episodes as well.
It's The Expanse.
And 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine, Farscape, The Outer Limits. Wow, lots of good stuff. For All Mankind and The Expanse. Yeah, you're right.
What was the other Deep Space Nine episode?
Babel.
Oh, yeah. First season.
Yeah.
Babel. Okay. Also, very quickly, we do want to, before we get started, we do want to give a hearty shout out to Mr. Immo Radke out in northwestern Germany. He provided us with the script, the shooting schedule, and the outline for this episode, which had changed quite a bit. Mohamed was noting before we hit record. So that was really cool. We would have loved to have him on the show, but he's out in Germany where it's midnight and he's celebrating Easter with his family and doesn't have his computer and all that. Cool. But anyway, how you guys doing?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Good job. I like the clever herbs to die for intro.
I'm glad you
like that one.
What was clever about it?
Your whole delivery. I thought it was. I thought the wording was well done.
Thank you.
It was good. It was good.
Thank you. We also did that for Immo because we love Immo. He was our very first associate producer on our show. Really good guy. He's also working on a website for us. So Immo, that joke was for you and Cirroc.
Immo's got the crazy backdrop special effects.
Yeah, remember that?
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, things like fading in and out.
Yeah.
And, you can energize.
Like a video going in it.
Yeah,
Black Alert. That's yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So shout out to Black Alert.
And thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed Noor, for joining us for this episode. We are going to need you in this episode very much because there was a lot of this episode that just kind of went over my head. I was like, is that real science? Is it fakey science? Do I even know what these words mean? So hopefully you can answer those questions.
You talk about it.
I don't know about you guys, but one of the first things that kind of stuck out to me and just made me once again say, wow, this is such a coincidence, is that the topics that we're watching in this episode are exactly what we watch in the headlines with vaccines and viruses.
Yeah.
And it's just DS9 does it again. They find a way, to just be like literally current.
There was even a line at the end where he said, it's not a cure, it's a vaccine. The difficult part will be getting people to take it.
Exactly.
I
I was like, I mean, somebody needs to do a PSA and just clip all of our episodes, and then that's enough to get it done.
That'll get you through.
Yeah, it was timely for the time too, not on the vaccine front, but at the time this was coming out, Kevorkian, the doctor of death, was helping with all those assisted suicides, and they were having all those trials, for him and stuff like that. So it was very timely at the time, not on the vaccine side, but on the assisted suicide aspect.
I remember that. I remember that name being passed around, Dr. Jack Kevorkian, and I guess what he was doing was just helping people to pass on.
Yeah, he'd set them up. Like, he wouldn't actually inject them, but he would set them up with everything. Like, here, you hit this button. And therefore, he was like, I didn't do it. They hit the button.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. I wrote that down in my notes too, Mohamed, as well, that Kevorkian, because he was a big deal at that time, because it was actually the idea of whether somebody had the right to end their life was, the assisted suicide type of argument that was being brought up at the time was heavy in the discussion, in the popular culture. So that was something we were all talking about at the time.
Yep.
So when I watched this episode, it made me, obviously, just like you, it kind of reminded me of that idea of, and then even in this episode, Bashir kind of comes to the conclusion, like, well, it is the right thing to do. It is okay that he's doing this. Even though he's trying to find the cure and he's trying to find a way, when he initially gives up, he kind of says, what else is there to do in the initial give up?
His reaction at first was very striking. He was so strongly against it. It was like, it's not that crazy. I mean, if there's no hope, I mean, why? Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah,
how perceptions have changed over the last 25 years.
Yeah, and the other thing that they introduced in this episode were the idea of the preparation for the death, right? Like the woman in this episode, she had her food saved up. She was basically going to have a feast, a party, and of some sort, right? And it was like a birthday party, but a death day party.
Celebration, yeah.
Yeah, and be around your loved ones, eat well, and then check out. And so the idea, I thought, was a very interesting idea for them to bring up and talk about, because it is something where you kind of may be on the fence. Well, I don't think it's right to kill people. But then at the same time, if somebody is in tremendous amount of pain,
exactly,
and they're suffering to such a degree, then isn't that kind of the humane thing to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you see an animal that's been hit by a car or something, you're kind of supposed to take it out of its misery and just
run it over again.
It.
Oh. I've been that guy trying to save the animals that I see hit on the road, and they never make it to the vet. Like, you put them in your back seat or something. You try, yeah.
So I mean, if something is mortally wounded, and it's the most humane thing to do is to, and we've seen this in movies too, where it's like two soldiers are out in the field, one guy's and he's basically asking his friend to take him out.
Don't make me go through this.
Yeah, please help me out. And so the idea is, I think, is an ancient one. I think it'll always be up for debate on what the right thing to do is. And of course, you add religion into it, and that's a whole nother aspect. But just whether it is right or wrong to take your own life, if you're in that kind of pain and you're facing imminent death anyways.
Well, it seems to fall under the category of free will, right? I would think. I mean, if you have free will.
I think in Kevorkian's case, I think they tried this particular case out in front of the courts
multiple times.
Yes, and I believe that he was actually kind of vindicated, or he basically won the argument that it was all right for him to get to do that. He wasn't charged with murder, I don't think.
I don't think so. I don't remember that happening. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Man, I wish I knew more about this case. It sounds so interesting. It sounds like
there were multiple.
If I didn't pull the trigger, or if I didn't push the button, then I can't be charged with murder. These other people, this is what they wanted to do, and I wanted to make a bunch of money, so we both did it.
And there was a line in this episode where the doctor, what was the doctor's name? Trevian.
Trevian.
And it was funny because sometimes it sounded like Julian. For 1 second, I had to look and it's like, did he call for Julian or Travian? You know, but when the person was calling for Travian and he kind of pushed Julian to the side and said, "You have to let me."
Yeah, she's asking for me.
She's asking for me, right?
Yeah.
So in the Kevorkian case, it's also the similar thing. People were asking for him. He wasn't just going around saying, "Hey, who wants to die? I got a bunch of drugs."
No, that's right.
People were reaching out and saying, "Please," and calling him. He's going and traveling to their residence.
They knew what they were getting, and they were asking for it, like you said. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I did let's start at the beginning here.
Sure.
First of all, we had a fun Quarks commercial, which was nice, and Worf gets I think this is the second episode in a row with Worf's prune juice being featured. He said he had that singing Quarks mug, which would have been funny to see him trying to drink.
What if he spilled it the first time it started singing?
But that was Odo's only scene, I believe, because he was directing. That was a great episode for him to direct. Either he or Avery could have directed that episode because they were both out of it mostly. I don't know if you guys made any director's notes there.
The only note I had was the come to Quarks mug, which I thought was pretty interesting because what it did was it actually addressed advertising and commercials and advertising, which is a theme that I don't think Star Trek deals with it much because they don't deal heavily in money and in the world of finances as much, and especially not in advertising, even though advertising is what runs Hollywood essentially, right? It runs the industry, it runs television, that's for sure. So I thought it's interesting that it does this kind of play, this satire on advertising. It's a very brief, it's small. And the other thing I thought was interesting is I had never seen, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but somebody at a convention with one of those.
Oh, I was going to ask that. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that? I've never seen that.
Did it actually make the sound too when you tilted it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen it.
Oh, I've not seen it. Oh, sorry.
I have not seen it. And as many times as people do bring up all kinds of things, and you see, I mean, the fans are amazing about the details that the levels of extremes that they're willing to go through to get the details right. But I haven't seen anybody reproduce a singing Quarks mug. And if they did, I think I would get one.
It would have to have a switch though, because if it kept doing it,
it has to have a switch.
That's the beauty of it. There's no switch. You would instantly regret.
You regret it with every sip of prune juice.
Yeah.
I had a bottle opener, little bottle opener, where every time you did it, this little speaker would have the call, like the radio call of when Barry Bonds hit this big home run, 20 years ago or whatever it was. And so every time you go like this, you'd be like, he hits it high, he hits it deep. And then you're like, yeah, this is cool. But let me tell you, about a year or two ago, it broke and it just was on a loop.
Oh, gosh.
It's that 10, 12 second loop. And at first it's kind of cool, but so I can only imagine that a Quarks thing would be a little silly, still worth doing. So if somebody out there, please do it and show it to us at a convention.
Oh man, it would be fantastic. Come to Quarks. And that would have been the perfect souvenir to sell at Quarks Bar at the Vegas experience, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been perfect. I'm sure they would have sold out on those right away.
Totally. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard to make. It's not like it's technologically difficult. That would be.
It's just on a tilt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just on a tilt. Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's the light. That's the light stuff of it. That was
That's the only B plot. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Only B plot.
It just opened on that, and they never revisited.
I have a question for you guys. And where did they film this alien planet?
Good question.
I know Ryan knows.
I don't know if I do know.
Because my guess was Vasquez. I wrote Vasquez rocks question mark.
What I said was I wrote in my notes that it just looks like, I was like, they go to a planet that looks just like the LA hills. Wow, what a deal.
Amazing.
And all of the aliens look like humans. They don't even have like a thing on their forehead like most aliens or a line here painted on. They're just like, dude,
just got the disease.
That's the season finale's coming up in a couple episodes. We need to trim the budget a little bit, because the big episode's coming soon. That's how it's got to work.
I actually, when I was first watching this, I thought this was a zombie. I thought there was a zombie apocalypse type of episode, right? Where there were the normal humans, and then there were these ones that were bitten by the zombie bug or whatever, and were breaking out. But it turned out they all had that thing. But I did think
born with it even too, aside from the last baby.
Yeah, but originally I thought, this is like DS9's little zombie apocalypse type of scenario.
Yeah, so as Mohamed started to say, he said, maybe they're born with it. Maybe it's the Quickening. Okay.
Like the Maybelline reference.
Whoops.
Don't worry.
That born with it thing actually makes it a little bit funny in terms of some of the science, but we'll get to that later.
That's the important stuff. Real quick though, there were some things that I wish they had incorporated. Like I couldn't help but think that since a week had gone by before Major Kira comes back to pick them up, and
the first
2 more weeks at least went by after that, right? So Bashir presumably is gone for a month. I thought it would be cool if the next episode of Deep Space Nine had Bashir, Kira, and Dax not in the episode, and then towards the end, like Dax and Kira come back, but Bashir is not. And so it kind of showed what happened in Deep Space Nine for the previous month. But here's my question. Why would Kira go hang out in a nebula for a week and wait for them? That sounds. I was
wondering about that too. I wasn't sure if
she was home.
I wasn't sure she was trying to hide to be nearby in case something went wrong. I was wondering about that too. That seemed odd. Like, you're really going to hang out for a week just in that little shuttle?
He said, "Come back in a week," and she's like, "Okay, I'll just go sit in a shuttle in a nebula for a week. Just go home, man."
What's she doing? Like reading?
I don't know.
She's redecorating the interior space of this runabout.
And it was just a runabout. Yeah, it's just a room. Anyway.
But I have a question, because this is something that kind of bothers me, and maybe it's like you can tell me the science behind it. Why don't they just beam to wherever they need to go to instead of always taking a ship somewhere and then beaming from the ship?
So what they've said is that the transporters have some limited range. I mean, that's what they've said in the past. I remember this coming up more directly in Enterprise when they brought like the guy who like invented the transporter, and there was some limited range to it. So I think that's the issue there. But yeah, I mean, in principle, it doesn't seem like that should. It seems like that should have improved between Enterprise and Deep Space Nine, since that's 100 some years later.
We need a range extender for this.
Yeah, right. Get an antenna.
And then there's always an episode where they do solve that issue for the episode, and then they forget the technology for the next episode.
Yeah, I guess in the reboot Star Trek movie, didn't they do that where Kirk and Scotty beamed onto the Enterprise while it was at warp?
Yeah.
Oh, they beamed it while it was on warp.
Yeah, they beamed from some planet onto the Enterprise, like while it was at warp. So, but that was a reboot movie, so Kelvin timeline as opposed to prime timeline.
That's true, different technology. But I feel like that was also done in a Star Trek episode, and I can't remember which one. But they've done all kinds of stuff with transporters. They've transported Barclay holding a giant worm back or something. They've done all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and I know they've done time. They've gone through time through transporters at some point, right?
Yeah. They sent that Romulan Voyager through a wormhole into into Voyager on the other side, and that was also through time too. Come to think of it.
But yeah, so that's just my overall. It's like, well, instead of sending a runabout to go pick up the people or waiting for him on the surface, why don't you just go back to DS9 and just when he's ready, just beam him back? But obviously, you answered my question by there's only so much range.
Yeah, that is far away, and then through the wormhole and everything. But we do have to take our quick break here. But Mohamed might be able to guess which episode this reminded me of a different series. A different series had a similar kind of episode, kind of. We'll talk about that and, everything else. We'll be right back on The Seventh Rule. Everybody, welcome back to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc, Lofton.
Yeah, hello.
We're also joined by Dr. Mohamed Noor, the Dean of Natural Sciences at Duke University.
Thanks for having me. So I have a guess on your episode. Episode you said that.
Let's hit the trivioids. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Before we hit record, though, Mohamed, you did say that this kind of seemed like a tougher one for trivioids, but that's because there wasn't really much of a B plot. So it's just kind of what you see is what you get. So this is what I've got. Quark has a commercial with a fun jingle. Worf gets his prune juice in a singing Quark's mug. Bashir wants to visit every star system in the Gamma Quadrant.
That'll take a while.
The runabout crew visits a planet of mysterious humans. Trevian has some herbs that are to die for. Kira takes a trip to the Genkata Nebula. And Bashir played doctor with his teddy bear. So
yeah, I only wrote one. I wrote one note for Bashir's teddy bear, and that was "Boom, kakalaka, kukalaka, kukalaka."
Very nice.
That's all I got for that.
He had a name that sounded almost Jem Hadarish too. Kukalaka.
It did a little bit, yeah. I like that. I want to see it sometime on his shelf. I want to see this teddy bear.
Yeah, they should show it. Like next time we see his thing, we see his quarters. You just see the Kukalaka.
It sounds Hawaiian. The name.
Exactly. I thought the same thing. It's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
They have 12 letters in their alphabet, and they're all there in that name.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I guess your episode?
Yeah.
Is it Voyager Phage?
No, but that's a good one. It's more of the formula of a member of the crew going down to a planet that has some mysterious disease, and the crew member saves the day by coming up with a cure. And I don't remember what the episode was called, but the character was Data. And Data goes, and it was radiation. There was like everybody had like radiation poisoning.
That's right. This is one where he died, right? He got buried even in it.
Yeah, he's got like his little suitcase and he loses his memory. But anyway, it reminded me of that one. But I feel like there have been other I feel like every series has like one episode where there's like this mysterious disease and somebody goes down and saves it.
The Data one was interesting because he was actually the source of the problem because he brought the radioactive stuff to the town.
You're right. Spoilers. Boy, oh boy.
That
was like 30 years ago. But yeah, you're right. Anyway.
Well, I mean, in this episode, there was a small element of that where the electromagnetic frequencies of the equipment was causing the thing to accelerate.
That was creative. I like that. That was an interesting touch to the episode.
Is that something that is possible? I mean, did it seem like a logical kind of insert?
I've never heard anything like it, but yeah.
I bought it. I was like, that's it. Turn it off, damn it.
I could come up with something for it, but like I've never heard of it actually being true. But it's not impossible.
It was a nice little throw in.
It was interesting. Some of the stuff they kept on saying is what Bashir was saying repeatedly is he was giving them antigens, which I didn't really understand what it was he was trying to do. Now, let me preface by saying I'm neither a doctor nor a virologist, so my understanding is like intro bio level. But,
I thought you were Fauci level, man.
No, nowhere near Fauci level. All right. Like, so generally, what happens like if you get sick? Let's use the COVID-19 as an example. Like, you get sick, you have your the virus is inside you, it's reproducing. You then mount a defense. Your body mounts a defense against it. The defense, part of the defense is through antibodies. There's other things going like helper T cells and all that kind of stuff too, but you're producing antibodies. And what the antibodies attack is called the antigen. So it's something on, say, for example, the surface of the virus, right? So the way a lot of vaccines work is they inject like bits of virus or dead virus or something that makes the virus into you. And then you're not actually in any danger, but your body still mounts the defense. So then it's kind of like if you then are infected later with the actual virus, you're already on red alert and scanning for exactly that, and you shoot it down. So that's why you either don't get sick or you very likely get sick. So that makes sense in the context of a vaccine. In the context of everybody on the planet, they were already sick. So I don't quite understand, like, why are you injecting with antigen? Like, there's plenty of antigen in all of them.
Right.
So I was a little puzzled. I mean, the only thing I could come up with, and this is like retconning it, maybe the way the virus was acting is it was creating some autoimmune condition where essentially your body was fighting itself. So putting something else in there to distract what it's fighting is good. I don't know, but that seemed odd. Like, why is he injecting antigen? I don't. They're already sick.
See, that's what I thought too, that they were. No, I didn't know any of that.
No, yeah, I didn't.
I could be wrong, but it seemed funny. But then it made sense.
No, but you're right. Like
Yeah.
you can't give a vaccine to somebody that already has it. I mean, it's basically useless at that point.
Yeah. So I didn't understand what he was trying to do. Unless it's something like, a secondary effect where it's an autoimmune thing. So therefore he's trying to direct it away from attacking your own cells to attacking something else. Maybe.
Yeah, the other thing I had about that was the cure that Bashir eventually did come up with, which essentially cured the next generation, right? Number one, does that only affect women because of the placenta, right? Can only women get it, or are men able to get it? It will affect their sperm.
That was a funny thing because it said that it got all sucked in through the placenta. I was like, so what happened to the guys? Like, why didn't it just work on them?
Right.
Yeah. So that was one question I had. Just like, is that something that it translates? And the other thing was, are they going to be able to repopulate fast enough to still keep their population?
Yeah.
Right. Because
that's the big worry. Yeah.
Well, because the growth rate of population has to be over 2.
Yeah.
You have to have more than 2 children essentially to replace the 2 parents.
Couple. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I might be able to answer the placenta question though.
Oh, please.
Bear with me on this one. But
I have another concern I'll tell you after that.
And it boils down to nipples, right?
No, all right, never mind.
It's like, why do dudes have nipples? We don't need them to feed babies, but we still have them, right? So maybe this alien race, they have placentas that just come and go inside of them, and it gets absorbed and whatever.
Yeah,
so maybe they have useless placentas that just come and go, and they pass it.
It's true. It is an alien species
way. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. It's a good thought. The other thing I wondered about is
Cirroc, you didn't give me the benefit of the doubt when I mentioned nipples.
Yeah, I thought this was going to end badly.
Go the wrong direction.
The thing I wonder about is the baby looked fine, but do we know the baby can't get it? I mean, it's like the baby's fine right now. I mean, do we know that like when the baby's 5, it's like, oh no, shoot.
Totally.
Yeah, that's the other aspect of it that we don't know about.
It's interesting. They took for granted that like, oh, that's it. He's like immune. It's like, okay.
Well, it did show Bashir at the end still working on it. He went home. He wrote his report, but he was like, I'm going to keep working on this because there's an entire race dependent on this that may be able to have enough children to repopulate, but maybe they won't. Maybe it's better if I continue working to find an actual cure.
Yeah.
And then I had a question too while I was watching it. When they were talking, they said, yeah, we used to be like you 200 years ago. We had all the technology and all this stuff. And, you're not so slick with your little tricorder or whatever. You're not impressing us, right?
That don't impress me much.
But then I'm thinking, was that their explanation for why they didn't have that technology anymore? Because the electromagnetic waves that were field that was created was causing the thing to be worse. And so they got rid of all their technology and went and reverted back to a primitive kind of society. I didn't understand the connection there, but that's what I drew.
That's a good thought. My thought on that was just that there was like so many people that were sick that they couldn't keep fixing it.
Right. That's what I assumed. I hadn't thought of that.
But yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because you would think if you had the ability to fix somebody's broken arm with a tricorder, then you would continue to keep that little bit of technology is pretty important to have. Unless it causes the quickening. And the other thing I thought was interesting was the name, the Quickening. And I know we can get into that a little bit, but I believe I first heard of it in the Bible. I think that's where I first my first connection. It's actually a positive one, and it talks about God's impact quickening a person so it makes them better, essentially.
Oh, cool.
So it's a more of a positive effect. The other place I heard it was in Highlander, the series of the movie Highlander, and the quickening was like their immortal power that they had, and it could only be ended by severing the head or decapitating the person, right? So those were the first two times my word association with quickening.
Yeah, well, it seems like they called the disease itself the blight.
Yeah.
And the quickening was like the final phase of the blight. This is when it speeds up and when it's the beginning of the end. So it's time to get your herbs in place, gather up your apples and your party music and get ready for your going away party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
definitely a sad episode. I mean, it was extraordinarily well done, but definitely a sad episode. Like, oof.
Yeah, but I found myself interested in watching this episode. It wasn't one of those episodes where I kind of look at the clock and say, okay, can they speed this up? I actually was interested in this episode. I thought, for one, I thought Terry Farrell was pretty remarkable, better than usual in this episode. I really liked her performance in this.
I have a question about one quote she said. There was one point in time where she told Bashir, isn't it like true arrogance to think just because you couldn't come up with a cure that one doesn't exist? I couldn't quite tell if she was trying to motivate him or make him feel better or make him feel worse. I was like, oh, that's a strong statement, but I'm not sure where you're trying to take that.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. So I thought I said Dax checks Bashir's arrogance because she kind of checks it right there.
Yeah.
And I think she was really trying to, I mean, it's a double-sided thing, but I think she was trying to say, she was trying to give him comfort, like, thinking that you can do it is kind of the arrogant part, right?
Okay.
So I thought she was checking him, but also kind of giving him comfort. It was a double set. It was one of those backhanded compliments where it's just like, it's a compliment, but it's also a diss at the same time. And you're like, all right, I don't know which way to take this.
Yeah, it's a classic Star Trek line where it can be taken more than one way and it can be delivered in more than one way. I'm guessing she was doing it, Mohamed, as you mentioned, as like motivation. The character is saying like, hey, don't give up and think that it's impossible to do something just because you can't, and then that would motivate him to say, okay, that's true. It's not, it's not a lost cause. Even if I can't, maybe someone can, maybe, something can be done, or maybe I can just try again or work with these people or something. That's how I would read it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that also that he was kind of deflated and kind of thinking that it was impossible.
Yeah.
And I think she was bringing up the idea that it is possible. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean it's impossible. There is possibly a cure or a way to fix this. So I think it was inspirational in that way. I'm glad you said that. But I do want to highlight once again, I do like the way Dax her performance in this was pretty great. I thought it was one of her best performances, and she was stunningly beautiful. I don't know what they did to her hair or what.
She gave away her hairpin at the beginning.
Oh, right. That's true.
Yeah, she was. I mean, she looked gorgeous, and I said,
Another
love her
note
hair.
about Dax was I noticed that this episode was written with kind of Bashir being in charge, when in fact Dax does outrank him. But they figured, surely the writers, this is a Bashir episode, so it would be strange to have him play like second fiddle, where Dax is saying, okay, Julian, come up with a solution for that and make sure that this guy, and he's just kind of running around doing that. But then also it also shows the mark of a good leader, where Dax is like, hey, this isn't really my jurisdiction. This is a medical emergency. You take charge. If I need to take charge on anything, I will. But otherwise, you tell me what you need and I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I like to think of doctors. They like to make you wait because it makes them feel important.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems right that Bashir would take the lead on this. It was also really pitting him up against the other doctor. Yeah. And it's almost like the pseudoscience doctors versus the actual medical doctors, right? There's the chiropractors versus the surgeons, or there's the different kinds of practicing, right? And he is considered, I guess you would say, the traditional doctor, Dr. Bashir. But this other guy is more of the witch doctor who's got the herbs to die for, and but also can give you like a comfortable spiritual space to feel relaxed, and has other elements that he adds besides just the neurons and the bones and the cartilage. So, I think that they're also having this contrast of styles, which is made the climax of of this episode, where the two of them are kind of at head to head.
Mm-hmm.
And Bashir says, I'm glad that you asked, how to make this recipe. I'm glad that you did that, because you see that it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And you have good intentions for your people. I see that you want the best for your people, even though you're killing them in that kind of way.
He was just feeling helpless, it seemed like, the original Doctor. He probably, if he thought there was hope, he may have embraced it earlier on. And as soon as there was clear hope, he did, to his credit, as he said, he immediately embraced it. It just seemed like he just felt completely helpless. Like, well, let's do what we can. I mean, I'm tired of trying these things that just never work. And presumably he's been doing that for decades. So,
yeah.
Also, here's a small thing that I noticed. After the episode, when the credits were running in, it said that there was a character by the name of Patient, and that the actor that played the patient was someone called Alan Echeverria, which I assumed must be the son of Renee Echeverria. So that was just kind of an interesting thing. I saw that, I was like, oh, that's a cool thing, So I just now looked him up, and he does have 8 acting credits, only once on Star Trek. But that was just a cool little thing to notice.
Was he the boy who got his arm fixed, or was he older than that?
I feel like he may have just been in, one of the doctor office or something. One of the people that was dying or volunteering or something. Yeah. That's my guess, at least.
And speaking of the guest stars in this, actually there was a baby in this that was very cute. I wonder if it was a baby, but that baby was so cute. I was like, oh, that's such a cute little baby, and I just was kind of
okay. The name of that actor that played the baby was Keely Dietz. Keely Dietz. Let's see if Keely has. Nope, that was it. That's the only actor.
That was it. Wow, one and done.
One hit wonder.
Yeah. Peaked at the age of 1.
So I've been doing that for 6 months, man.
Yeah, so we have a few minutes left here. I'm glad you brought up Dax, because she did kind of stand out a little bit in that her delivery was a little different. I don't want to say like a little bit better, but there was some kind of maturity in the character that's growing, and it was nice to see. There was only one time where I kind of thought, is that how I would have envisioned that line being delivered? It was, and I think it was like a voiceover ADR thing when she says like, she's like, Julian, something's happening or something's wrong, or there was some kind of thing off screen, just because I'm always like focusing on those things. But I did notice really good delivery on her part. And I don't know if it's just because she especially liked this episode, or if it was because Renee was a good director that could pull it out of her, or because maybe she just enjoyed being, hey, it's just me and Sid on this planet, hanging out, practicing our lines. Maybe it was just a really good experience. Sometimes certain episodes, certain scenes can really, bring extra things out of an actor.
Everybody's acting. Yeah. Sid did great too. I mean, he was very evocative the entire time. You could definitely feel what he was feeling through all his performances in a big way. Mm-hmm. And Terry as well. It. Yeah. Even Trevian. I mean, I actually felt bad for Trevian. I mean, because he was kind of set up as the bad guy, but again, he didn't mean to be.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was a pretty light villain.
Yeah.
As far as villains go.
Yeah, I liked when he looked at him and said, it's time for you to go. And he looked back. It's like when security, like, take him out of here.
Yeah.
He gave one of those looks. But I don't know. I don't know what, I can't put my finger on exactly what Terry did in her performance that changed it. But there was something about it that I just felt was more serious. And I don't know. I just felt like she delivered it. She was on point. And I do say that I would say that Renee directing had a lot to do with it because of their closeness and because of her comfort level with him. And also because she is with Sid so much, another person she feels comfortable with. So I think that the stars were in alignment as far as just her having the right elements to deliver her, some of her best work. I thought this was really some of her best work.
Well, looking up Renee as a director, it shows that he's directed 8 episodes. This is the 4th one. So we have 4 more to kind of just watch and see, if we notice any, Renee-isms, some things that kind of stand out from episode to episode. The other ones he did were Profit Motive, Family Business, Hippocratic Oath. And the next ones are going, right, you're right, good point. Next one is going to be Let He Who Is Without Sin. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But you're right. That is another Bashir one, Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, Bashir got to really, and Sisko had the day off. He had the week. He had the week off.
Yeah, he had one day.
He literally had one day, one scene. He comes in and he rolls out. He's like, I read the report. Good job. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them did. And Michael Dorn, everybody is just, they did their one quick thing. All right, good.
Work.
Yeah, I wonder. It makes me wonder. They probably given him a break because this is kind of nearing the end of the season, and we're about to go on hiatus. So people are moving around. They're lining up work. They're lining up jobs for the summertime if they're going to work in the summertime or do stuff. So in the business at this particular moment, there's there's a lot of people planning for what they're about to do on their vacation, right? Yeah. They're 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away from next month the last. It's like when you're in school and you're in their last couple of weeks, you're like ready to get out of there because you're already. You're just like, it's like I just got 2 more weeks and then I'm taking a big break and I'm sleeping late or I'm doing whatever I want.
In the words of Kramer on Seinfeld, in my mind, I'm already gone. Did you guys notice, by the way, the town square of the episode? Because we've noticed before how like the town squares always look the same. They always have
Well,
the same thing.
I do that for you. Yeah, because of you, I do that actually.
Nice.
And I was doing that this episode because of you pointing out the town square. But I thought this was different.
Well, here's the thing. It was still basically that same town square with people like carrying a basket of fruit back and forth, and then two people are talking about a thing here, and then there's two kids playing hacky sack in the corner and whatever, and then one person comes as soon as they arrive and like greets them and whatever. But the difference was that this was like totally shoddy, like everything, usually it's like these nice orange and red and yellow colors, and there's like tapestries and there's all these things. This was just browns and grays. There's like kids aren't playing with the soccer ball; they're playing with a rock or whatever. But yeah, so, that was it.
I have a question for you on that one, Cirroc. Do they, since Voyager and Deep Space Nine were filming at the same time, would they reuse the town square set between the shows, where like you guys could go stage 16 or whatever, and then they'd come and then use it for something else?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of cross using, especially when it comes to those cave sets. A lot of those caves that were built on the soundstage were, I think, used over by different people. So we all kind of borrowed those. Not so much of these outdoor town square scenes, but definitely those caves up at the upstage. I think it was 16.
Oh, but good guess.
It was a very good guess, actually. But no, I was looking at this episode thinking about that. And, the thing that came to mind when you were saying that is when we see these towns, I think of, because, you look around and it seems like everybody who lives in that planet is outside that day, like just playing. Or
there it is.
Right? Like nobody's inside, right? So
they're always outside fussing around.
Yeah, and but for me, I get the image in my head that it's only like, let's say 500 people that are being affected by this, whatever it is. I don't get in my head that there's millions of people on this planet that are suffering from this, and that these two people that just popped up are going to save the millions. I see it more like a small town that's having this outbreak, and they're stopping a small town from experiencing complete obliteration.
And they're always very social. Like they're never just kind of like, I'm just mind my own business and walking over here. They're all just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And same as yesterday when we were standing here talking with our...
They always come by every day.
They're like, you're from another planet, aren't you? Like
how could they tell? Because he was wearing different clothes. Oh,
no blight.
Speaking of which,
just like kind of an awkward thing to do. It's like, you're from another planet. Like you would be completely geeked out about that and kind of go a little,
or scared out of your mind,
or scared out of your mind.
Because the last time they ran into aliens from a different planet, the Jem'Hadar destroyed their planet.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I've got something to say about that.
Uh-oh.
How does Bashir know that a hypospray is going to work on an alien that he met just 5 seconds ago? What if he killed it? What if he said, oh, you're in pain. Here, take this. And the person's like, what have you done? And they just like die. And he's like, oh, I guess I should have studied you first.
Yeah,
right? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, because he did say give 4 milligrams of whatever, or 4 grams.
Ordrazine.
But this was in that very first scene, like right when he meets them, and somebody comes up, they're like, oh, my face is burning. And he's like, oh, I got just the thing. Trust me, I've seen your race for 7 seconds already. I know exactly what your physiology is. Anyway,
maybe there's a mini tricorder built into the hypo that scans real quick and then checks to see if it's okay.
I'll buy that. I got it. That's good.
But just on another side of that, I wanted to say that I thought it was very sweet when the mother of the pregnant mother was given the opportunity to see her baby, and the way she played that, she played that moment when Bashir says, would you like to take see a picture of your baby? Yeah. It just made me think of how special it is to have a sonogram and to be able to have that technology to see the baby in there moving around. Totally. So she played that moment so well, like an expecting mother who's going to have the first chance to see her unborn child. I thought that was a good moment there.
She was really good in general too. The one place where maybe it could have been a tiny bit better was her actual death scene. Where it was very much like,
Yeah.
it was very kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too. It was kind of anticlimactic, the death scene.
So we have 1 minute left, and it is now time for Jake Sisko guesses the IMDb score.
Well, I liked the episode. I'm going to give it a 7.6. That's my guess right there.
He is hot.
I like it.
He is hot like UCLA basketball.
Was.
Yeah. 7.7.
Wow.
7.7. Very good.
Yeah, you nailed it. That was great.
Yeah. Lost by 1, just like the game. 1 shot.
Okay, so we are going to hit the free-for-all next, ladies and gentlemen. So please stick around. It's madness. It's a free-for-all. Also, very special thanks to Carmen Shamwell, PJ Tomas, TJ, Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arucan, Yvette Blackmon, Homer Frizzell, Eve England out in Wales. Get better soon, Eve. We miss you. Dr. Anne-Marie Segal, Dr. Susan V. Gruner, Tim Baum, and Titus Mohler. Great. We'll see you on the other side on the free-for-all. Always remember the 7th rule. Everybody, welcome back to the 7th rule with Cirroc Lofton. This is the free-for-all, if you can believe that. Mohamed Noor is still with us, making us sound smarter than we are. We have Mr. Scott Jensen, Dr. Anne-Marie Segal. We have Sabrina Wood and Melissa Longo classing up the joint. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Great.
Yeah, good.
Great. So before we move forward, you guys have any thoughts on this episode? I don't know if you've seen it recently or if you watched it a long time ago, if you remembered it all, if you don't remember it at all. What do you guys think?
Best intro of all time.
It is.
I
Yeah,
love
man.
so much.
Really? Why?
You know why? Because we get like the best jingle ever for
I totally forgot that was in
Why
this
didn't I
episode.
guess?
I've been telling you all week. Ooh, this is the one with the best intro.
Really?
Quirks is fun. Come to
I
Quirks.
told you that this morning even.
Run. God, I forgot completely it was in the episode.
So
and I did a
good.
rewatch last week, and I'm like, it totally is. The rest of the episode is
Yeah,
completely
it eclipses it
different
a
from
little bit.
It's so great. Love it. Love the whole episode though, for many reasons.
Yeah, when they started the episode like that, I'm like, what the hell is this episode about?
Where's
Like,
it going to
where-
go from here?
Where are we going from here?
It's the only way is down.
I'm so glad they changed it up. I was like,
Yeah.
oh God,
Oh.
God. This is going to be a long episode here if this is
Yeah.
Or the
about
best.
Madcap schemes, man. I love that. Madcap sales schemes.
Yeah, I think
Kira chasing him around the station with a hammer. Just,
Yeah.
I think Anne-Marie's favorite characters are Quark and Luoxana. Is that right?
Yes, and Mookie.
And
those are some
Mookie.
good
So-
choices.
So
That's
Quark
awesome.
episode is right up
They're
her
my
alley. man.
favorite. I watch them so much.
I loved Kira's line to Quark in the beginning of this episode, though, when she says, I'll come over to Quark's and I will have fun.
That was awesome.
just-
Holding him by his collar.
Yeah. Was,
I
Let me
love
help you,
how
with Chief. Let me help you with that.
genuinely scared Quark is of Kira.
Yeah.
He immediately was like, how
Yeah.
do we keep this back?
yeah. She
But
put
But
the
he
finger
loves
back.
it. He loves it. He loves it. Any way that he can get her to put her hands on him, he'll take it.
I think you're turned on by strong women because if you
Yeah.
notice a
Absolutely.
Grill
lot
cut?
of
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
He likes really strong women that can boss him around and grab him by the collar.
Well,
So-
look who his mother is.
I
For
know.
real, his mom.
Hey,
Right.
look at Spooky.
Yeah.
Says back.
You're right, Cirroc. He just likes the strong ones.
Yeah.
what
as soon as
Well, he
they
likes the ones that
jumped in,
can.
like, oh, I love it.
He likes the ones that can cook real well too. As we remember, Grilka was great. She created her own line of cooking, whatever, right?
My
She
gosh.
created the George Foreman Grilka.
Oh,
Remember
my
that?
gosh.
I knew.
I love
knew
it when I
coming.
see it coming. I hear it.
Yeah.
The best.
It's either that or the grilled cheese sandwich. I thought. I knew something-
Even that.
Oh, what have you done to him, Ryan?
I couldn't be
I
more
know.
proud.
Somebody help me. Help me.
Oh man, when I was a kid, I was like, Jake Sisko's so cool.
And you were
Look what
right.
Ryan, look what Ryan
And
did to
then,
him.
Ryan did to him.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
first it was Nog, now it's Ryan Hustle.
Ryan T. Hustle.
I just get the guys, man, the bad influences. My dad was right.
I heard Mohamed go, oh, though he had a little sympathy. Thank you, Mohamed.
Oh, a little sympathy. Nice.
We all
Yeah,
know you
sympathy for
elevate
the
us,
devil.
Ryan. We all know you elevate us.
Yeah.
That's it.
Somewhat.
Yeah, he
Gotta
does.
even out the playing field. That's all it is.
He
Uh,
does.
Anybody else see this episode recently?
I watched it this morning.
Anything jump out at you that was new or different than the other times you had seen it?
The opening, definitely. I had forgotten about it.
Yeah, I had no
And then-
memory of that too.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. How could I forget that? And yeah, and I was the giving birth part.
Oh yeah.
The
It doesn't
jumped out at me, and it reminded me of this documentary about this octopus that I had seen.
I didn't see
Okay.
that coming.
Me neither, Mom, me neither.
No, it's just because I don't want to spoil the ending, but they suffer similar fates after childbirth. So,
Oh.
and it made me cry. And so I was just thinking, wow, how much work she went to make sure that her son was born. And that's incredible. And I was just thinking it's incredible how women are able to do that.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what jumped out at me.
Mhm.
Mm.
Melissa,
Yeah.
Cirroc mentioned at the beginning of the discussion about the mug at the beginning that we don't see that at conventions.
Why not?
Yeah.
Everywhere for it. I wanted to get it from my brother Dan when he moved to a new apartment for his housewarming. So I scoured the internet and I
Yeah.
couldn't find any.
Oh,
Yeah, nobody has that. I've never seen one at a convention. And it would have been the perfect souvenir at Quark's Bar at the Vegas Hilton back in the day. It would have been
Totally.
I'm sure everybody would have got one of those.
As long as it has the off switch.
Have you guys all been to
No.
have you guys all been to the Vegas Star Trek experience back in the day?
No.
I have, yeah. I have a
Yeah,
picture
they
of me
did.
as 7 of 9.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, it
As
was really
7 of 9?
funny.
or with 7 of 9.
No, they take your head or your image and they put it on top of her body in the suit.
That's so cool.
And so the hands didn't match, of course. So I said, well, what can you do? And the guy made it so I'm like this black 7 of 9 with red hair. I was like,
Nice.
I love you.
Yeah,
It
man.
looks really good. I was like, hey,
I love you.
I'll have to put it up as a screensaver.
amazing.
But I tried to do it on Facebook and they wouldn't let me. They said it was X-rated.
Whoa.
Well, what
Hey.
was she wearing?
Good
A
old
silver
Facebook.
suit?
She was wearing the 7 of 9 cat suit, And
But
so
which
I
color?
put it up as a Facebook thing, and they were like, "Oh no, that's too explicit," and they wouldn't let me. It wouldn't go up. I'm like,
Well,
But
was
they're
it
all
was it the
groups,
silver
Star
one or
Trek
was it like
hotties.
the
the
great,
reddish
the
one?
bronze one. Yeah, the silver one. The silver one.
Huh, that's weird.
Wow.
Maybe it thought it was naked just because of the. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think so. Yes. I mean, it was like, oh my
It was
god, I'm
not
going
for
to be in
television.
Facebook in the Facebook corner. Facebook timeout. Wow. Oh my God.
Bad, Sabrina.
Oh.
Bad.
That's something to be proud of, though.
I've been in Facebook timeout a couple times now.
Oh man.
I was this week.
What did you say, Anne-Marie?
I was this week. I liked too many things, and I got put in jail.
There's a limit on likes.
48 hours. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Liking it?
it was suspicious. Too many
I
likes.
thought you were a
Like,
bot.
yeah, exactly. So
It's
Oh
nanobots,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
The
mm,
nanobots. Control.
I'm glad this is not just me.
but you had a better reason, Sabrina.
Yeah, it's outlaw reason. That's even better.
Yeah.
No, I was cussing. They threw me out.
When
Mine was
is Facebook
for
gonna tell
real.
me I'm too hot.
I was coming in, all phases to bear. Like, what did you say? So
Wait, that's so 7 of 9.
It is.
that was Balana. It was
It
so
is.
total Balana.
Still in the marquee.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question for you guys today. It was inspired by Scott Jensen's shirt. Everybody can take a quick look at his shirt here.
I can get up. You can stand back up here. Oh, look at that, guys. Oh, my
Trillamal,
goodness.
Jadzia Dax.
That's great, shirt.
Had to get it.
So obviously that's a play on Metallica's first album, Kill 'Em All. So the question is, if you were to make a shirt like that was a play on a group or band or musician, either a song or an album, but it had to be Star Trek related. I know all of you guys are like, Jesus Christ, this one sounds tough.
Oh man, I'm digging through records. Digging through records right now, Rowan.
What would you
Ooh,
do?
I got one.
Wow, that was quick. I was going to buy us some time by saying, check out Melissa Longo's awesome shirt. Also, by the way, ta-da!
I've seen on the gingerbread man, Melissa. Gingerbread person, Melissa.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so true. That's so true. Eve England, shout out to her out in Wales. She makes these really cool gingerbread people. And she made the 4 of us. And Melissa had the little cat pack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you
the
can
little
get
shirt.
you can get her stuff at walkingartmadebymelissa.com. It's in the description box below. So check it out. Mohamed, we're ready for you.
Well, actually, I've got a Melissa shirt as well.
Ooh.
I've got
I
the
was
Garrick,
wondering that.
Garrick,
I
just
love
a simple
that.
tailor.
Oh, yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love this one. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks. They're
But
fun.
my pick for this isn't so much. It's more the album title rather than the cover. But imagine Van Halen's OU812 and a big picture of Neelix with a platter.
Any callbacks to Neelis's cooking?
There you go. It's got the Leola root, all that stuff there.
I don't get that one, though.
Oh man.
I don't know what the album, that Van Halen album looks like.
It's just the title, OU812. OU812.
Very good. Cirroc hates it, but I like it.
The cover itself doesn't work. It's just a picture of them. So that cover doesn't work. You just have to use the title and then use that.
No, Cirroc's just got his I'm thinking of a thing right now face.
Yeah, I am thinking of a thing.
I know.
I am thinking of a thing.
I don't even have one yet. All right, Anne-Marie,
I've got
do you
one.
have
I've
one?
got one.
Oh,
I've got
all
one.
right, Sabrina.
Good.
All right, and mine is a group. I would be Cirroc Noor's child,
Nice.
Ooh.
like Destiny's Child.
Love it.
Yes.
Yes.
That first album cover, they'll stand beside each other in front of it. Yep.
It's a pretty good one. It's a very good one. Anne-Marie, do you have something?
I'm so bad at plays on words and stuff. But I'll do blank 8472.
Oh, very good.
Oh,
Very
oh,
good.
oh, you just won. Talking about you're bad at it. Oh man.
Yeah, she's on the spot. She comes up with it.
Better at
Yeah.
numbers.
Speaking of bad, how about Michael Jackson's Triller?
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to make
We
all
get
these
the
on my
assist
phone
from
really
Scott
poorly.
Jensen on that one.
Oh, wow.
It's the alley-oop.
Straight fist.
Or Bobby Brown's My Prime Directive.
Gosh.
Come on. That deserves something. That's a good.
Woo! Okay.
With Led Zeppelin 4 lights.
Oh,
It
Melissa
only
just got it.
something- You gotta sing it.
Yeah.
You can sing that. Sing the note. No. You gotta be off mute.
Oh,
no.
bad.
It doesn't work that way.
Eating.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Come on, I'm from right up the street from Bobby Brown. Go ahead, sing it.
Really? Where was he from?
Boston.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah? Yeah, Bobby, it's my prerogative.
Hey.
I can do what I want to do.
It's my prerogative.
That's right.
Prime directive. We can't do what we want to do.
We can't do anything.
The prime directive. That's a good one.
Oh, I'm trying to think of a line that says something about not unless you Kirk.
Yeah, I was gonna say Riker, but yeah, Kirk too. Yeah. Melissa, do you have one for us?
I don't know if I have one. Although I have one that could be a good album title, and it's called "Death to the Opposition."
Death to the opposition.
So metal.
My favorite
That's so
war
metal.
quote ever. Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
We will destroy them.
Oh,
That's true. We could also do like
Great
band
one.
names, Star Trek things that sound like band names. Like that one.
Yeah.
Would just throw Cirroc No Child again.
Look at that.
That's a good one.
Derek Child. Yeah.
My answer is good for everything.
That's it. Cirroc, do you have a fun one for us?
I was trying to come up with one. You came up with Triller and you stole mine. So thanks for that one. But mine, I switched it up now. I'm going to say Sisko at the Dock of the Bay.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
Especially that opening scene with you
Yeah.
guys too.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
a song by Odo Redding, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man, you guys are good.
Yep, that's how
Cisco by the duck. I like that.
Oh my
That's a
gosh.
t-shirt. That's a t-shirt.
Cisco by the dock on the bay.
Mhm.
Little
Nothing will
fishing
ever
pole.
top that.
Right, with the fishing pole.
First episode.
There it
Yeah,
is.
man. I'm gonna make that happen with my phone editing skills. It can happen tonight.
That's it.
All right, this is where we pick on somebody. Anne-Marie, you have to give us a second one.
Whoa.
First
Wait,
one was so good.
what are we doing though? Like just name titles?
Yeah, whatever you want.
I don't know. I'm so bad at this.
Ryan, you got a second one. You just drop it on us, man. Drop it like it's hot.
All right.
Drop it like it's not. Drop it like it's not.
Like it's nog.
Drop it like it's knock. Very good.
Yeah.
When the bream
Drop it
get an
like it's
attitude.
nog. Drop it like it's nog. Drop it like it's nog.
Oh,
And now we need this music video. Drop it. Nog. The little nog head.
Doing the little
dancer.
Aw.
Yep, that too.
doing his little dance. Oh, love it.
oh my God.
All right, I'll try to think of one real quick.
I gotta write these down, man. This is
Yeah, I can't think
I'm gonna have to write out the whole lyrics for "Drop It Like It's Nog." I like that one.
Nice.
I was feeling that.
Shout out
Nobody
to
said it.
Ken Kopacki with his nog knock jokes, by the way. They're
Oh,
always
yeah.
so
Man,
funny.
brilliant every time.
Nobody picked on Elvis Wesley.
Oh my gosh.
Elvis Presley.
Oh, man.
Scott likes that one.
You made me cry, man.
That's
He's
a
trying not to
solid one.
like it. He just
God, this is the harder the better.
How about
man? I'm flipping through records back here trying.
How
to
about
find
for
something.
last
Like,
week?
man.
Nothing compares Wei Yun.
Oh man.
Oh, okay.
Wei Yun.
Okay. All right.
They don't have to be good.
I mean, usually the least good it is, the better.
Yeah.
Less good, the better.
Yeah.
All right. If nobody has any others.
I can't wait to read the comment section though.
Oh, it's gonna blow up.
They're gonna have
Italians
better
get hold of
ones
this.
than us.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna have some
man.
great ones. But we can cheat. We have a whole week where we can sit there and think about it and add it to the comments.
I know.
Oh man, yeah.
See, so this kind of also came
Yeah.
about, everybody at home. Before we hit record, we were talking about how, again, Scott's shirt, but then there's the Megadeth album that he said sounded similar to a Ferengi Rule of Acquisition, and that one is Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? So that's a good one as well for a Rule of Acquisition.
You're not even wearing your Megadeth shirt today.
Yeah, my one Megadeth shirt.
I
used to have like a dozen. I don't know. Like, there's
It's a
never
real
not a
statement.
time to listen to Megadeth, right? I mean, it's always, it's like the only
Always Megadeth
band that I don't
time.
skip when I'm playing through my stuff.
Yeah, and then the Voyager theme.
I'll skip it sometimes,
It's like the best playlist.
but you're never not in the mood for Megadeth.
Bee Gees. I never skip the Bee Gees when they come on. I'm like, oh, I gotta hear it.
Awesome.
Man.
Awesome. Okay, what's a good one from the Bee Gees?
Oh man. I just know Staying Alive. I really can't bring up any. That's about as far as my legend.
There's also
Knowledge
dancing.
grows with
How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? When the Lights. No, that's Journey. What's the one in When the Lights Went
How
Down in
deep is your
Massachusetts?
Space Nine?
Let's go down in the city.
But there's the Massachusetts one too,
I
right?
don't know the Massachusetts one. I know the Journey one.
Okay, fine.
How can you mend a broken targ? There you go.
Targ,
Broken
okay.
Targ.
Broken
Ah!
targ. How do you mend a broken
Oh.
targ? You just if you're on Chronos, you just put it down. That's how you mend it.
Oh, I
Timely
feel
with this
good.
episode.
Somebody
There you
like
go.
made a meme about like all targs go to heaven on Twitter, which I really enjoyed. I saw it yesterday, especially because All Dogs Go to Heaven is like the one movie with an Anne Marie in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I
man.
could be the star of All Targs Go to Heaven. So cute.
That sounds terrible. I never saw
Ooh-wee.
that movie though, so I don't know. All Dogs Go to Heaven. Okay. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts on this episode? It was a great Bashir one. Our good friend Imo Radka sent us the script to it. Oh, we didn't really cover the differences in the script, Mohamed, if you want to throw those at us.
That's right.
You didn't
That's
notice.
right. Well, I noticed the doctor was a woman, and then the person who was helping them was a guy in the script.
Mhm.
So they obviously
Uh-huh.
switched those two things at some point in time, and then made it so there was the pregnant lady instead.
Mm.
But Trevine, it still had the same name, Trevine, but she was. I think the description was an elderly woman. Like, well, it wasn't the Trevine we just saw.
Interesting.
And Bashir
also-
has like 20 backstories about why he's a doctor. It's like he wrote like different medical school essays for different places,
Oh,
and
heck yeah.
it's like, oh, he became a doctor because he wasn't going to be a tennis player. He became a doctor because he saw these doctors helped like a colony. He became a doctor because he liked to fix Kukulaka. Like he has all these like stupid like tropey stories.
He's been
Yeah,
learning
his-
from Garrick, man. He's learning from Garrick. He's been hanging around long enough.
Yeah, you're
Right.
right. He
Good
has
point.
different reasons.
You want to know how I
Maybe.
got these scars?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it
They all
demonstrates
sound so rehearsed. Like he went on so many medical school
absolutely.
interviews. He has it like down to a science.
An eidetic memory.
What'd you say, Melissa?
I was going to say, well, maybe that demonstrates that it takes more than one road to get to where we are and to become who we are. So,
Right.
and, you know, that was just one story.
Every rose has its
Beautiful
thorn.
thought. Every rose has its gorn.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's cute.
my goodness.
Just dying over there.
It's murdering me, man. I hadn't this many puns in one day in a long time. This is great.
Yeah, welcome. And the original title of this is not a joke. I felt like I was about to deliver a joke, but no, the original title of this episode was called The Healing Touch. I don't know when they changed it, but that's what the script says.
So much better.
It's The Healing Touch.
That sounds like a massage parlor.
It does.
Quark opened it up.
Yeah, it's during Quark's franchising.
Yeah.
Well, I was just glad to see that Bashir got his wish to be in frontier medicine. He finally did it.
Straight out. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cured them, even though, I thought it was such an emotional ending. I love this. I love this one. Every time I see it,
God.
it doesn't matter. Every time you see it, I cry at the end when he gets it, even though she dies, but he holds that baby up and it's just, I'm done.
Yeah. The soundtrack's so good.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a
Yeah.
Star Trek at its best.
Mm-hmm.
What I do like about Dax also, I just kind of remembered that I think she showed the kind of wisdom that her character has with this. So I think that's when she kind of checks Julian about his arrogance. I really think that reflects the kind of wisdom that she's gained over many lifetimes, because she really puts that in perspective for him, like it's arrogant for you to think that you can do it in a week or whatever it was.
He had to get taken down a peg.
Yeah, or it's arrogant for you to think that just because you can't do it, it can't be done.
Yep.
I thought that was a good kind of lesson that she was imparting. I really liked her performance again, and her hair in this episode. I thought her hair was like marvelous in this episode.
To give away
even though she had to give away the clip.
Yep.
Yeah.
To give it out.
It was also interesting. It reflects a really interesting point in medicine too, where especially around the 90s, people were starting to say doctors have awful bedside manner. They don't explain what they're doing.
And penmanship.
When they're doling out therapeutic and diagnostic advice, and now you have to take so many classes during medical school, patient doctor and society, part 1, 2, 3, and 4, learn, and you're always being graded on how you speak to patients. And I feel like the Quickening is sort of that turning point where it hadn't really worked its way into medical school curriculums as much, and you were starting to see all these articles in the news about how bad of a job with bedside manner doctors were doing. So it's a little bit a sign of the time. And it's nice to see that. I think it's getting better.
Hang on, they're teaching PR for doctors now, basically, how to be nicer. It's a, it's some kind of
if you actually
exchange
are
of goods.
Human.
If you're just an actual non-sociopath, you're not Dr. House. Yeah, just don't be Dr.
Weird.
House.
You'd be surprised. But who needed PR though were the Jem'Hadar, because because they were this was a sign or a lesson to all people, don't F with the Dominion. Yet these people are on a planet, it's not being broadcast what happened to them. How's anybody supposed to get the lesson? But, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then also
Go ahead, Cirroc. I was just gonna make a dumb joke. Go ahead.
No. They didn't talk about it, but essentially it's biological warfare is what they are doing, and it's interesting that they were even able to develop the Jem'Hadar, right? Because they don't seem to me to be that advanced in their society to be able to develop this kind of a biological weapon against another society. It would seem like they're the victim themselves of a biological weapon.
Right. I thought the same.
Founders.
Right. I assumed they just delivered it.
Yeah.
And the founders
the Jem'Hadar themselves are genetically engineered, so we figured
Created the biological weapon. The Jem'Hadar are just the administrators of that weapon. There's the weapon of the weapon.
The other thing is, luckily, there's spoiler alert, Dominion War comes out in favor of the Federation. But otherwise, like, what would
Whoa.
prevent the Dominion from just going back and like mixing up, like once they see that everybody, once they see that everybody's like healed, wouldn't they just drop another biological warfare thing on the society?
Yeah.
If I were them, I'd be like drawing an eyeliner on my face, pretending that
I'm still hurt.
I still had it. Yeah. Oh my god, it hurts so bad.
That's awesome.
That's a
Well, I
point,
mean,
though.
it sounds like a scare tactic is that you give this planet this plague, and everybody in that solar system knows, and these people are and they're still having generations and generations, and it's continuing down the generations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just this constant, just a threat that's in everybody's face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody that's in it, because it wasn't in the Alpha Quadrant, so it was out there just keeping everybody in check that we're going to wreck your great grandchildren are going to feel what we do to you. And that, I think, was what was important, that Bashir broke the chain, didn't save the world, which it was very realistic. He didn't save the whole world, which I think eventually in the fanfic, in the Alone Together, doesn't he mention the quickening at one point in that? I feel like
I don't remember that.
that he mentioned it in the beginning, that part of the sequence that he was using to cure that plague that Eric was having, that he learned from the quickening. I thought it was a really great callback, because I love
that's why like Garrett called him, because he's like,
yeah, because he remembered it. See, and I think that this is one of the best science episodes of all of
me
Star
too.
Trek.
This is such a good
all
one.
of Star Trek. I can't think of a better medical episode, actually. I can't even think of one.
I was thinking about it a lot today while I went for a walk. And, that one in Voyager, I think this one in the Voyager one where the doctor is like kind of, the EMH is stolen and goes to that hospital where they dole out healthcare based on like
with the levels.
how important you are to your
so
society.
That was very good.
These two are really big standouts in my mind. And also this one's really interesting now to think about, like, not the medical aspect, but like what would happen if we lost, especially right now, like tons of people in our society who understand how to use technology. Probably would take more than 200 years for us to get to this point of like decrepitation, if that's the word.
Yeah,
but
society falling apart like it did.
Yeah, but you could totally like extrapolate that. Super interesting.
Yeah, because when they first beam down in the beginning, I'm like, they're beaming down. This looks like they're breaking the Prime Directive, because this place is like the shambles. Like,
they don't even.
I mean, nobody was even playing hacky sack.
They don't even have a goodie.
They just had a rock to kick around.
I told Ryan, you know when the
where is the hacky sack?
That was the divider right there. They're in bad shape.
There's no
hacky sack.
Right.
It's gone down.
We should check the script where it says, Town Square is so bad they don't even have a hacky sack, and they're like, whoa. That's bad.
Man. The deck is stacked. So
the tomatoes were slightly rotting. They weren't fresh.
Exactly.
They weren't fresh green.
Their
fresh
feet
red
come in weird
tomatoes.
jars.
Yeah. They jarred up. I was like, what is in those jars? Is she going to eat a bunch of jelly?
No, man, that soup is going to put you down. That soup is
jelly sandwich.
It was like, pickled everything.
I like pickles.
Me too.
Pickled everything.
I don't know if I want to go to that planet to have pickles, though. I think that's all.
It looked like kind of rancid.
Yeah.
What do you think that planet specializes in as far as food? Do you think they have any good food where it's like, oh, you got to go to Craptown, USA, or whatever that whatever that planet's called? You got to go there for their rutabagas, man. They just
rutabagas.
It looked pickled everything.
No,
like
lizard kebabs,
sauerkraut.
Lizard kebabs, probably.
Yeah,
sauerkraut.
Tarts.
They're Galvanian albatross.
Yeah, a Galvanian swamp pie.
Oh my gosh.
We're still on a search to try to figure out a name for what that tool is, where they just they create, Alvanian or Kabarian or whateverian, and then a word we recognize, or sometimes a word and then, a combination of words, like an Alvarian mud beetle or
It's like
delicious.
Katarian. Katarian's like everything.
yeah.
Katarian has like a crazy export system.
Have you
great
ever
product.
had Katarian apples
Yeah.
before? Oh,
Mm.
they're the best.
Cat,
Yeah.
those cat people make great apples.
This is Worf's first season on the show, right? Season
Right.
4, I think, is his first season. And they've made prune juice jokes, I think, now 4 times.
And
I
we're
think
just eating them up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like 4 prune juice jokes in different episodes.
The more the better.
They're wearing that out right there. They're going to use that up.
And man,
I don't know.
I just wanted Worf to be on the surface to like help with the baby delivery so badly.
Oh man, he would have
I
gone
did, I
running.
did think of him. Yeah. You haven't seen it yet, Cirroc, but in Next Generation, Worf actually sings an old earthen song about prunes. It's called Blue Prune.
oh man, they keep coming.
Oh man, I thought we were done. Happy
Never.
Easter, everybody.
I was racking my brain, and I was
Oh.
like, "Oh no,
You
here
did.
it
You
comes."
guys don't remember that episode?
Slipped
That
my
was great.
mind.
I'm gonna go back tonight and watch it. I'm gonna Google it.
Uh,
Paramount Plus. I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah. Good. Paramount Plus is like, don't drag us into this, man.
keep us out of this.
We don't have anything to do
Keep
with
us out
this.
of it.
All
I
right.
know we will not make a Quark mug that sings.
Oh,
This episode should have been called The Quickening, right?
Mm.
That shit right.
I know, I
You
agree.
gotta quit while you're ahead, Ryan. You're doing good.
Then we would have
over there.
never started recording in the first place.
Oh yeah, that's
we,
true.
wouldn't have even gone
That's
anywhere.
true.
Oh.
On fire
Yeah.
tonight, man. This is on fire.
Anyway, any final thoughts from anybody before we run?
Yeah, and Marie's having a great hair day as well.
Oh, you.
Hey.
Thank you.
My final thought. Shout out to everybody. Have a good, happy Easter with the rest of your day. Enjoy your feasting and celebrating.
You too.
Happy first
You
contact
too,
day
yeah.
tomorrow, too.
Yeah, happy
Oh,
first
happy
contact
contact
day
day.
tomorrow.
Paldar Joy, Paldar Joy.
Oh, I love that the episode of Deep Space Nine, they're showing his little green men for their marriage.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
cute.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, what made tomorrow Happy First Contact Day? Why is that date chosen?
Why is
The
Anybody?
tomorrow
movie
different than
of-
all other days?
Yeah, the movie of Star Trek First Contact, they divulged that First Contact was originally made in 2063, April
Yes.
5th, from the Phoenix missile that was changed into a ship, which was the first warp-capable ship, piloted by Zephram Cochrane, played by Mr. James Cromwell, one of the coolest guys in Hollywood. Love that dude. But anyway, so theoretically,
So that
42 years from now, we will make first contact with Vulcans.
The Vulcans see it and they go,
I
"Oh,
thought it
these
was
people,
61.
they're doing something right."
61.
And
Like
when
the
we-
Enterprise episode 1.
Yeah.
when we actually do make first contact with them, they're going to say, "Why do you guys keep calling us Vulcans? We told you we're not Vulcans."
We
Yeah.
named them.
And I make pierogies because that's Zephram Cochrane's favorite.
Pierogies.
That's how Neelix
Oh,
celebrates
man.
it. I make pierogies, I mean like it's a frozen one.
Best line was leak. I get it. That's funny. Right? No, that's it's just a line.
It's a line in the
It's like,
movie,
don't you
yeah.
guys ever go to the bathroom? Oh, leak. I
Oh.
love the way LeVar Burton delivered that. That was just
Yeah.
perfect.
He's like, I'm gonna take a leak. What? Yeah.
Yeah, don't you guys ever go to the bathroom in the future? Anyway. All right.
Ah.
Well, thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Trust me, Cirroc, it's a very funny scene.
It's. I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah,
I promise.
I'm going to send it to you so you don't
But you don't have
forget.
to take my word for it.
Do it.
Anyway, thanks very much to Sabrina Wood, Mohamed, Noor, Melissa Longo, Scott Jensen, and Dr. Anne-Marie Segal. And for Cirroc Lofton, for Russ Hasledge at Odyssey Radio, and for the coolest guy in the history of everything that we always reference because he's infused with us forever, Mr. Aaron Eisenberg. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Always remember the 7th rule.